Hey folks, Diggs Outdoors here. Just a little talking, get some stuff off my chest. Been watching about the election. I don't get very political on here, but come on, folks, enough's enough. Um, Watching the people from the left lose their minds, thinking this, that, and the other thing's going to happen, and those on the right kind of poking the bear, like we told you so, and look at this. This isn't good. Um, And I know I'm probably going to get it from both sides. If you're not with us, you're against us. I get that. But it's time we start putting some of this stuff aside and coming back together as a country, or things are just going to get worse. I don't think it's any secret who I voted for. Look at me. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and lead off with this. Um, we are not interested in taking your rights away. In fact, we're trying to get you more rights. Yeah, I can figure it out. We're not fascist. We are not fascist. When we would say we want to protect everybody's rights, we mean everybody, not just the people on our side of the aisle. Everybody's rights. Uh, we're not going to put anybody who disagrees with us in internment camps. In fact, the only person that I know in the government that won't put anybody in internment camps of any sort was Nancy Pelosi, aka re-education camps. Hmm? But we don't want to do that. You are free to think however you want to think. Um, what you do in your bedroom is your business. It's none of ours. Okay. So if you're transgender, you're gay, you're this, you're that, you're the other thing, so be it. That's your choice. If we're fighting so you can have that freedom to make that choice, whether we agree with it or not. Personally, I don't, but it is what it is. Am I going to hold it against you? No, because it's not my choice to make. Keep this in mind. We're not going to go out fishing for information. You can think and speak freely on how you think and no repercussions. None. Again, with who got elected, you have the freedom to do that. Whether we like it or not, you have the freedom to do that. And here's the thing, if one side is going to shut up the other, that creates a big problem in this country. By one side, or by both sides not really speaking to each other and trying to figure stuff out civilly, creates a great divide, an enormous divide. We may already be past the point of no return. I pray we aren't, but we may already be there. So, please tell us what you think. As I said, we may not like it, we may not agree with it, but there may be a kernel of truth in there somewhere. Yeah, so I don't. What's up, Tibor? I don't know exactly how long I'm going to be on, but this is just one of those things. It's just like since Tuesday, and it's just been ramping up ever since. Um, Quite simply, you folks on the left can live however you want to live with no repercussions. Between the left and the right, the left, everybody can be free as long as it's their style of freedom and you practice what they tell you can practice. On our side, on the right, you're free to think whatever you want, whenever you want. as long as you ain't breaking the law. And we are not going to change the law to get you on the left in trouble. There's a thing with democracy, it's ruled by majority. In a republic, it is we vote for rule, but everybody has individual rights. Something to think about. Again, something else to keep in mind. And I know there'll be some people out there that want to push it to the extreme, and both sides of this, I get it. Also remember that that is the vast minority of both sides. It may not seem like it, but it is. I mentioned those of the LGBTQ plus whatever it is this week community. I've worked with a lot of these people. I was friends with a lot of these people. And it comes down to this, folks. You treat me cool, I treat you cool. It's called mutual respect, which it seems like us as a country we have lost. Call me crazy for saying that, but that's how I feel. It's like, oh, by the way you dress, you probably vote for so and so, so I hate you. That should have nothing to do with it. So, Michael, in fact, when it comes to this past election, I'm going to say here what I told everybody before the election. I don't talk about who I voted for, as I said, it's probably kind of apparent anyway, but I don't say who I voted for because it's nobody else's business. Just like I don't want to know who you're voting for because it's none of mine. You have to go in there with your own mind, and not only with your own mind, vote your own mind. That is your chance to do that. Don't let anybody else influence you one way or the other. You do your homework, cast your vote, and your part of it's done. You vote for what you think is the best moving forward. Sometimes you might win, sometimes you might lose. But as I said, that election, that is your chance to speak your mind, not my mind, not Kamala's mind, not Dawn's mind, not Pelosi's mind, not your next door neighbor's mind, your mind. And now that we made it past that, a lot of people on the left are saying, okay, that we're going into a fact. No, you're not. That is an out and out lie. Again, as I said, with us, this is freedom for everybody. Not just the rich, not just the whites, not everybody. Blacks, Hispanics, Indians, Native Americans, trans, but you name it, freedom for everybody. Another thing I've been hearing bandied about a lot, that Trump's going to spend all this money, not only the ultra rich. That again is a lie, because if that was true, I don't make a lot, and if that was true, and he's going to suck everybody dry just for the ultra rich, I would have been declaring bankruptcy sometime between 2016 and 2020. I prospered much more than I am now. So again, that is out and out lie. Taxes were never better for the middle class until Trump came along. So he's actually for the common person. He didn't get rich in office. In fact, he never took a penny of what the government was going to pay him. He pumped all that money back into the economy that he would have made in the White House. Meanwhile, name me a Democrat, Obama, heck, even the Bushes, who are Republicans, the Clintons, a bunch of them got filthy rich while in office. Kind of makes you wonder, now, doesn't it? Who's actually for the rich, and who's actually for the poor? Or I should say, the blue collar person. Trump is for the blue collar person. I know, Tibor. I know. The one thing to keep in mind, though, is not so much with those up on Capitol Hill. If we, the constituents on both sides of this aisle, keep our mouths shut and not talk to each other about who got elected, the divided both sides are complaining about in this country is going to widen. Mark my words. As I said, since Obama, well, heck, even before Obama, Clinton, even before that, it really kind of started. It kind of started toward the end of Reagan. I mean, it was starting to get divided before that, but you could start noticing the cracks in the foundation of both sides around the end of Reagan's second term to now, to where it's not just a crack, it's an absolute Grand Canyon-sized chasm. So, seriously, I know I'm probably repeating myself something fierce, but I've watched this stuff to the point that I've had enough of it. Yeah, I know, Tibor, and as I said, I can care less what's going on in Capitol Hill right now. It's the citizenry that I'm watching implode, and I just gotta say something about it. This is just getting insane at this point. I was watching the video. Someone was doing a reaction. Somebody from the right was doing a reaction from somebody on the left doing the safety guidelines in case Trump gets elected again. And everything that he said will never happen. That we're going to put him in internment camps. That MAGA folks are going to go after and attack anybody who they feel is left leaning. So don't give them any information. Shut everything down that may be political on all your websites. Don't talk about politics, nothing. That's dangerous. Very dangerous. And I could point to more than one time, I can point to numerous times that both the left and the right wanted the same thing. I know, Tibor, I'm trying to get them to like pump the brakes, back off, and just shut up for a minute. That's what I'm trying to do. There have been many times that I was finding it funny, Tibor. I don't find it funny anymore. This is getting scary. The way this is going is getting very scary. But back to what I was saying, that many times those on the left and the right on Capitol Hill, Democrats and Republicans, wanted the same thing. They totally disagree on how to get there. Many times. So if they can't figure it out and they keep their mouths shut amongst themselves, where does that leave us? I get Trump's your guy. Back when Obama got on the left, when Obama got voted in, I get he's your guy. I get that. But from Obama through Trump's presidency, through Biden's presidency, and back to this, I've been noticing a very dangerous trend. That's why I'm trying to get people to pump the brakes, because this is both sides, not just the left, not just the right. It is both sides. And it's mostly with Obama and with Trump. Yeah, this may not be very popular on either side of the aisle, but I'm going to say it anyway. The people that followed him were almost rabid. Both of them, almost rabid. If you're not with us, you're against us. That is very dangerous in a country that's supposed to be united. This is more just a pendulum now, Tibor. This is more than just a pendulum. At times we're living through right now, I won't call them dangerous, but they're kind of unprecedented. This is why the old timers never talked about who they voted for, ever. This didn't start till Gen X. Gen X, my generation, started, well, I voted for this guy, I voted for this guy, which creates dissension on both sides. You see where that's gotten us. It's gotten us nowhere. In a hurry. Yeah, as I said, this is probably not going to be a very popular video. I get it. No big deal. But at least I'm putting it out there instead of putting a lid on it. But back to Obama and Trump. The followers of both of them almost follow them blindly. Which, I get it. He's your guy. Trump not quite as bad as Obama, but they're not that far off. And how can I put this? I've seen this go both ways too. One person be following one person, the other person be following. They don't talk. They scream back and they just scream insults back and forth at each other. That's not healthy either. What problem is that going to solve? That solves nothing. Just makes you feel better that you've got to bend a little bit. That's it. So, as I said, enough's enough. Yeah, there's a pop-up, like a pump the brakes pop-up type of thing, but take a little break from that, let you know what's going on with the channel here a little bit. I'm probably going to be editing 1 or 2 more videos to be put out next week. Last Saturday, I recorded like about 9 or 10, no, not 9, about 4 or 5 videos. One of them actually dumped on me. I couldn't get to do anything. I'm still trying to save that one. But I still have like 3 more I can edit and throw up. So I'm going to, hey, Sam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them scheduled to go up throughout the week. Whatever. And the comic relief has showed up. I'm also going to be having a live stream next week on Thursday, like I've been doing here, and we're going to be going back to the woods on this one. So it's going to be like woods fishing, woods fishing, woods fishing. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm trying to get back to basics and kind of slowly bring the fishing into it, because this time of year I'm not going to be doing that much fishing at all. with the weather and everything else. But once spring rolls around, we'll be doing a lot more fishing and stuff like that. Back into what I was talking about before, though, because I don't think I'm going to be on for like maybe about 10 more minutes, and that's about it. Talk to each other. Both sides, whether you're on one side or the other, talk to each other. I'm not saying have a political conversation, just talk. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. And if anybody from the left watches this and say anybody from the right, I'm saying this to tell people on the right to start digging for information, I'm going to right now call them flat out liars. Liars. The only thing they're doing is trying to continue a narrative of fear. Because through fear, they control. Oh, that ain't ever going to happen, Tibor. That ain't ever going to happen. Let me say one thing about the media here real quick, too. I don't really follow the media anymore. The one thing I found out, and I found this out years ago, between news sources like MSNBC, CNN, your nightly news on your regular network television channels, and then you take like Fox News, Newsmax, and all these. One's going to spin it one way, one's going to spin it the other. The actual truth lies someplace in between. Literally, it does. NPR is another one. NPR is funded by the Democrat Party. Sorry, I don't take them as credible news source. I would say they're not a credible news source, but they're going to spin everything one way. That's also their propaganda wing, where people will look at Fox News as Republicans' propaganda wing, along with X. Now, I do have a Twitter account, and I don't really see that much when it comes to politics on it, to be honest with you. Of course, I don't follow too many politicians. I don't follow too many people that are in politics. That's just when I come on here to social media, 9 times out of 10, it's a break for it. But when I come on to YouTube and I'm looking for bushcraft videos, but I have nothing but politics in my face, then I start going down that rabbit hole because that looks interesting. That looks interesting. Things are at a fever pitch right now, and they probably will be till he gets inaugurated. And I would not be surprised if the left, when all this stuff doesn't happen, they're going to take credit for it. No, we won't let you. Just for the simple fact that it was never going to happen in the first place. You lied to your people so you could turn around and lie to your people again and say, we staved it off for the good guys. No. In fact, in my mind, the Democratic Party is just one step away from becoming the Communist Party of the United States. Oh, exactly, Tibor. And I got that again for those creators. It goes both ways. There's only 2 people on YouTube that do YouTube videos politically that I haven't seen doing that. They're actually trying to start conversations with people on the other side and see if they can find some common ground. That's not fear mongering. That's trying to have a civil discussion or a civil debate to try to figure things out. And I have no problem with that. One's Charlie Kirk. I give him all the credit in the world. He's going to all these institutions and everything else, trying to talk to people on the other side. He's actually convinced a lot of people on the other side that maybe they were wrong, and some maybe not, but they come away with an appreciation that, we're not all that much different. And I give him credit for that. Oh, I know. I know. Like, let me just give you a little rundown of the Democratic Party. And if you look it up, you'll find that what I'm about to tell you, the history supports it. The Democratic Party is the ones back after the slaves were freed that gave you the KKK. That was a Democratic thing to keep African Americans from voting Republican. Jim Crow laws were Democratic. Jim Crow was a Democrat. He wrote those, which someone said, well, they're going to put those Jim Crow laws. Says, well, there was a flip. There was never a flip, ever, ever. See, and what is funny, and it still rings true now, than as it did back during the Civil Rights era. Martin Luther King and both Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were both Republicans because they seen that the Democrat Party were only using them as pawns. You don't believe me? Look how the Democrat Party just started jumping on this trans bandwagon real quick. It was all women, 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 women. And as soon as the trans, that's this next group we can exploit, they chunked women away, throw them away like air garbage. The trans people now. Trying to get trans into women's sports, trying to do this, trying to do that. So every woman that was for women's rights, and there's still a couple things that need to be done. It's a hell of a lot better than what it was. In fact, every place I've ever worked, a woman was always treated equally and paid equally. Now they want, before the Democrats pretty much turned their backs on the women, they wanted the women now to have special treatment. Okay, you're getting treated equal. How much more do you want? Which we go down to trans. I don't hate trans people. But the Democrats threw the women away for the trans, and the women don't even matter now. Everything that the women fought for women's sports, women's rights, and everything else in that party got trashed. Everything. Yeah, there was that, but the people that, even before the quote unquote jump, a lot of that stuff I was talking about, the Democrats never changed their views. The Republicans never changed their views. It's just the rhinos that jump from one side to the other decided to do that. I don't think so much because they didn't agree with the Democrats. It's that they wanted to change the Republicans. Because they never changed the way they were thinking. There's only like 2 or 3 of them, but that was the great flip. No, that was one party got sick of them, so they went to another party that never liked them in the first place. Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff I could talk about history-wise that would really raise the hackles on people, but I'm not going to go into that. A lot of things that are taught in schools about history is totally wrong. I wouldn't say totally wrong, but some of the things I think I should have gotten taught didn't, and probably never will be, which is a shame. But it'll paint a better picture because this country never was perfect. Neither was any other country on the face of the planet or any of our leaders. But they're sure of a hell of a lot better than Manuel Noriega, Che Guevara, Justin Trudeau. Yeah, Justin. Mao, Stalin, Marx, Pol Pot, which a lot of people on the left like to hold these people up on a pedestal because these are our template. No, they're not your template. You're only holding them up like this because those are probably the best examples of failed socialism that you can find. Every single one of those socialist, communist, and many times fascist systems, yes, crumbled. Absolutely crumbled. All of them. So, okay, Tibor. So, with that in mind, what you have, how are you going to make it better? It don't work. Thatcher had it right. Socialism only works when it works up until the point you run out of other people's money. Another thing that I've been hearing bandied about that Trump is going to give money to the ultra rich. I kind of hit upon this before, but I'm going to hit upon another point with this. There's going to be good money to the ultra rich, and everybody else that isn't rich is just going to be enslaved. I wouldn't say enslaved, but they're going to be broke. Everybody's going to be in bankruptcy. The economy is going to go out of control. No. Let's just talk about the economy here for a little bit. Up until COVID hit, Trump's economy was probably the best it has been since Reagan. Think about that. The best it has been since Reagan. I hear a lot of people on the other side talking about how astronomical the gas. No, they weren't astronomical under Trump. Under Obama and Biden, yeah, they were. I'm trying to think when was Obama elected. 2008 to 2016. In that time period, I had a Honda Civic, 10-gallon tank. Under Obama, when gas prices were at their worst, it took me close to $50. No, let's take it back. $45 to fill the tank of a Honda Civic. Now, when Trump was in office, I had my Dodge Dart. I traded my Dodge Dart in on a Jeep Renegade. But during that time, I was buying gas at almost the price I was paying for gas in the early 90s. Very early 90s. Which was somewhere about $1.75 a gallon. And with that being said, that shows me the economy, right then and there shows me the economy was better because we had our own supply. And our own supply got ahead of the demand. We were producing our own stuff. We didn't have to bring it in from someplace and pay larger prices for it. We made it ourselves. Everything else was cheaper too. Everybody's talking about price gouging. Right now in the supermarkets, like your Walmarts, you go down and buy food, price gouging on food. Oh, I hear you. The reason the food price is so high is because the fuel prices are so high. Keep that in mind. The higher fuel prices are, the higher prices and everything else is going to be because it has to get there somehow. And a lot of these people on the left are saying, well, they should eat the fuel price. They can't eat the fuel price forever. And by doing that, that is by transporting that stuff and charging so much for fuel and everything else, means that company, that logistics company, is not going to be in business very longer. I know a lot of people on the left, and people on the left think a business, in order to be successful, should mean it doesn't pull profit. It either breaks even or goes in the hole. That's a successful business. But if you pull a profit, now you're good. Now you're there. You go. If you pull profit, back to what I was saying, that you're greedy, you're gouging, you're doing this, you're doing. I do not know anybody that goes into business to break even or go in a hole. You don't go into business. If that's why you're going into business, to do one of those two things, you're doing it wrong. How do I know? I have my own business. And when I started going in the hole, I cut it off because it wasn't going to get any better. And you may ask what I did. I'll show you. I was a photographer. Which the other thing that man on the left got really all up in arms with me about was I didn't hire anybody. I was a one-man show. Because the market, the money I was pulling in, the market did not bear me having another employee, let alone a number of employees. It just wasn't there. So I ran my business the best way I knew how, where I'd still pull a profit, which means I did everything. Like if I had people, I actually had some people on the left demanding that I hire at least 20 people, and then take the government subsidy to pay for them. Sorry, I ain't going to do that. And at that time, I do believe Trump was in office when I was being told to do that. Here's why I didn't do that. That means I'm beholden to somebody else. I'm not beholden to myself. I am going to invest in myself. Try to make myself better. And trust me, I've been trying for years. Failed miserably a lot of times, but every morning when I wake up, my goal is to better my position in life. Whether I get there or not remains to be seen, but that is my goal. Better my position in life. Which many people tell you can't do that without the government. I say that's not true. The only person that can better your position in life is you. If you wait for some kind of legislation to do it for you, you'll never get there. Ever. Ever. So yeah, as I said, I had a little bit to get off my chest. I won't say I was scared as much as I was disheartened with what I've been seeing going on. It's not too late yet, folks. Whether we agree, I'm about there with you, Tibor. I'm 53 myself, so I'm past the halfway point. Well past the halfway point, possibly. So Um, Something another friend of mine said, who is now pretty conservative, but when he said it, he was a liberal. This is what he said, and this is when Obama was elected, and it does ring true. We lived through Bush, you'll live through Obama. So, to all you folks that think you lost, you didn't lose. You didn't lose. That the person that you voted for lost. You just cast your vote. We lived through Biden and Kamala. You'll live through Trump. And I guarantee you'll probably be better coming out the other side of it. Because everything that you're told is going to happen is not going to happen. I can guarantee you that. There's not going to be any fascism. There's going to be more freedom that you're going to know what to do with. We're going to have a much better economy. Anybody's telling you that our economies, that Trump wrecked it in 2016, he's going to wreck it again. Lies. We're going to have a much better economy. And how do I know? As I said, the last time I was in office, I was actually getting ahead. Now I'm scrambling to try to keep my head above water. I could list a bunch of them too, and some of the names I would throw on there, people would not like. And that's not people from the left, that's people from the right. There's a couple people from the right I have some issues with. I'll be honest, I had issues with them. Especially in the 1980s. Major issues. Late 70s, early 80s, I should say. Yeah. It's exactly what T-Brat said here. The world hasn't burned yet, and it's not going to. In fact, about the only thing that I would say that I somewhat agree with many of the people on the left on, but not for the reasons that they're giving us, is global warming. Everything that's happened, I'm not going to go too much into it, but what they're telling you is nothing more than a control tactic. Nothing more. Nothing more. I've studied it, and I've been studying this on and off for about the last 20 years now. And I come to the same conclusion that we're right where we need to be. What's going on out there right now with the global warming has happened before. It's happened at least 20 times before we had an ice age. And it's happening again. Repeatable data. 100% repeat. Well, then they're going to tell you, well, it's not because of natural causes. It's because of the same amount of carbon, even though it's in different forms, just being put out into the air. Okay? Second of all, the reason it happened then, and the reason why it's different now, is ecological and man-made factors together. And the reason I say that is the last time that we had an ice age, we had about 30 or I think 20 or 30 different volcanoes that were in some sort of constant state of eruption. We're down to like 5. And they're not really doing that much. We'll have a big poof every once in a while, but that's about it. So something has to take up that slack. If anything, we may be a little bit behind right now. A little bit. But what is happening is meant to happen. We are slowly heading into another ice age. It kind of seems counterintuitive, but keep this in mind. Before the last ice age, Antarctica was almost a tropical zone. From 20,000 years ago, they were pulling up tropical plants, finding tropical fossils of animals that are more or less from a tropical setting. The soil layers support that. And here's the thing: 20,000 years ago, Antarctica didn't move that far. Antarctica did not move that far. Maybe about 15, 20 miles at the most. And 15, 20 miles where Antarctica is at on the globe ain't going to change much. Just saying. So, yeah, I don't fall for the control tactic either. Now, someone's going to hear me say this on the left and say that I want dirty air and dirty water. I'm an outdoorsman. It would behoove me to want dirty air and dirty water. I do agree to some extent that a lot of this stuff should be cleaned up. Cars running cleaner, that's fine. Do we need electric cars? I don't think so. Not until we have an infrastructure in place for those that want to run them can run them. Which brings me to this. Anybody who wants to buy an electric car, go for it. Go for it. I give Elon Musk all the credit in the world, not because he backed Trump. I was giving him all the credit in the world because he found a way to make something that nobody really wanted, something that a lot of people want now. He found a niche, he filled that niche, and he got rich off of it. And he gave back a ton with it too. That is a classic case of he may have done a little bit of this for the environment. I'm not going to begrudge him that either. But he found something or found a group of people that he could sell these to, sold them, got other people interested in them. More power to him. Or they're telling us about global cooling. The globe is going to do what the globe is going to do. The Earth's going to do what the Earth is going to do. That as simple as that. As I said, without all those extra volcanoes going off, it's not going to get picked up somehow, or we will end up someplace. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a great runaway greenhouse effect, but it's not going to be an ice age. We're going to be stuck someplace in the middle, just in. But be that as it may, what they're telling you about it, though, that's nothing more than a control tactic. There's some other things I can go into because their studies back it. Let me tell you something about their studies, and this kind of goes both ways, too. Somebody pays somebody else to do a study for them, for people doing the study to tell the person financing it what they want to hear. That's how it usually goes now. No, that's the whole thing. We are heading into one, but not for all the reasons that they're telling us. It is a natural cycle on this planet. This planet has been through 20 of them so far, almost like clockwork. So anybody's telling you that, oh, we're going to get, it is. This planet is going to get hotter. But when it reaches a tipping point, it's going to go cold. I'm not saying in a hurry, but it's going to go cold. It always has. That's what it does. Repeatable data. It is usually anywhere, I can't remember what the cycle was. It's anywhere from like a 100 to 60,000 year cycle. So you have to think about 20,000, I say about 12,500 to 10,000 years ago, we're coming out of it. So about 30,000 years, we're going to be in the thick of an ice age. Almost everybody who watches this, even up to about 100 years after I put this out, will probably never live to see that. And the reason why I say that is everybody's talking about all these new chemicals being put into the air. You break those chemicals down, and you still have the same basic elements that have always existed here. You can neither create nor destroy elements. You can combine them and make new ones, but sooner or later they're going to break down and go right back to where they were. That's a fact. That is a fact of nature. That is a fact of physics. That's a fact of science. What's here is here. It will not be added to or will not be taken away from. As I said, we're talking about elements. We're not talking about human beings. We're not talking about life. We're talking about basic elements. So, yeah, maybe I'm rambling on for nothing. Who knows? Oh, I hear you. I hear you. And that comes right on back down to people pay other people a lot of money to tell them what they want to hear. Simple as that. But some people may want to make. I'm not making any predictions this time around. Not going to. In closing, though, because I said I was going to go maybe about another 10 minutes. That was about a half hour ago, so I'm also just finished out the hour now. One thing I will say is try to love one another. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Try to love one another. Or at least be kind to one another. I'm not saying you have to agree with them, but don't treat them bad either. And I know 99% on either side of the aisle are like that. Some people vote for Harris, some people vote for Biden, and they get up the next morning after the election, they're still very friendly and civil with each other. It's when we get down to that 1% that both sides are going to tell you is a majority of what the other side's like. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Oh, it does. It does go on everywhere. I get that. But it's a way to keep us at each other's throats to keep control over us. And whether the left does it or the right does it, I actually see it going both ways at this point. The left wants to do this to you, the right wants to do this to you. The left wants to do this to you, the right wants to do this to you. That just keeps us fighting amongst each other. And unfortunately, it's not some kind of bro network. I won't say bro network. That's the wrong wordage. It's not some good old boys network type of thing. That's what a lot of people call government, the good old boy network. And that goes for both sides of the aisle. So they all can stay in power. This is a phenomenon I've been seeing happen since, I say, late 80s. And as I said, it's just a very tiny crack that is now, like I said before, a massive gaping chasm. America, we are better than this. much better than this. I don't care what people on the left say. I don't care what people on the right say. I'm calling it as I see it. And many people are probably going to agree with me. Other people are not. And that's okay. That is their right. Exactly, Tibor. Exactly. So, moving forward, honestly, those on the left, stay involved with it. If you go down a political path and you're involved, stay involved with it. But maybe try to get someone. I'm not saying sway people on the right to your side, but talk to people on the right and get their input. Um, Case in point, like I was talking about both sides wanting the same thing, but can't agree on how to get there. I think it was Mitt Romney, back when Bush was in office, drew up a healthcare plan, a centralized healthcare plan. The Republicans and the Democrats, actually, the Democrats shot it down. Most of the Republicans shot it down too, until Obama grabbed that plan, brought it back, and reintroduced it and tried to railroad it through again. Again, the Republicans this time shot it down with some of the Democrats shooting it down. Not a good idea. And during that time, the Republicans didn't like it because it meant raising taxes on people. And Republicans came up with another plan, which the Democrats rejected, but probably would have been more effective. For every $1 that is spent in the national budget, 1 penny of that goes into healthcare. So right now, I'm going to pull out my phone here right now. What's our national debt as of right now? Something like $31 trillion. Let's do a little math. Should be 1,000 million billion trillion. I do believe that'd be close to, I think, about either 31 or $310 billion going into the healthcare fund. Oh, that goes without saying, Tibor. Numerous times. Numerous times. So, and as I said, I'm not so much complaining about the parties. I'm complaining about, I wouldn't say even complaining, but trying to get the constituents on both sides to cool their jets a little bit. Yeah, as I said, it's probably not going to be a very popular opinion, but it needs to be said. Honestly, I honestly think that. Because I know people who are on the left that I consider friends. I know there's many people on the left that have people on the right that they consider friends. So you have to ask yourself, Is it worth throwing away a friend over a political candidate? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I already know of families that one side of family voted one way, the other side of the family voted the other way, and both sides of the family want to disown the other side. That ain't right. Seriously, it's not right. Because in this country, especially when it comes to a vote, you have the ability to vote your mind without consequence. Again, this is what the old timers never really talked about. There's checks and balances. The check was the vote. The balance was not talking about it. To keep everybody together. But that's all the time I have for tonight. There's a couple things I need to do now. So for those of you guys that showed up, I love y'all. And I'll be back with the regular show on Thursday. Y'all have a good night.